Hello everyone and welcome back to the Gaming Droid and welcome back to Sky Pirate Droid. So there's a few things that have been done, but what we're going to be doing this episode primarily is working on our blood magic. So in between episodes I've been doing a little work on the altar which I will show you in a minute. We made some reinforced slates. I'm going to be taking the Rune of Self-Sacrifice. To be honest, they're not really that important. I'm also going to be claiming the imbued slate reward of another imbued slate. Other than that, all I've done is a little bit of work on the altar. So another thing it asks me to do is make an altar emitter. All that is a blood altar, redstone blocks and a lever. Very, very easy. Over here you can see the altar emitter is configured to check for a set amount of life points in an altar. Once the correct amount is detected, the altar emitter will send out a redstone signal. Gets us 16 redstone ore. To be honest, I have unlimited redstone. 16 redstone ore doesn't really bother me. The other thing it asks us to make is an altar insight or an altar diviner. The altar diviner allows us to divine what is in the altar and to put things in and out of the altar automatically. Now here's the thing. You needed a tier 3 altar, so I started working on a tier 3 altar to build this. Other than that, what I do want to do is I actually want to make myself 5 more displacement runes. These things, every one you put down increases the amount of life points you can transfer in and out of the altar per cycle, per cycle by 20%. Now the cycles originally start at 20 ticks. Later on there is another rune you need to be a higher level in blood magic to do. The rune reduces the number of ticks, so it becomes every 18 ticks, 16 ticks, and so forth. For now, I have got some of these, but I do want to make 5 more, because that will bring me up to about, I think I'm on 120 at the moment. I think this will bring me up to about 340. So this is my altar. I have my original self-sacrifice runes and some speed runes, and then that's level 1, level 2, and I upgraded it to level 3, which I need to complete these quests. And here is my level 3 altar down here. I have a barrel that's technically full of blood because there's 8,000 in here, so that makes up a full barrel. I have 10 displacement runes. I've got some more speed runes. All the speed runes do is they increase the speed at which things are completed. These stone blocks don't need to be here, they were just there for the building. They increase the speed at which altar transformations are completed, and displacement runes allow you to displace things. So with these runes in place, I should be transferring roughly 300 blood per second into the altar, which will allow me to keep up with a lot of the low-level transformations without having to use my orb, which is something I wanted to be able to do. So the next thing that the quest book asks me to do is make this altar diviner. The reason I had to do this level 3 altar, and the glowstone is important, the runes are important, but the glass and the stone aren't, is that I needed a level 3 altar to make this transformation. So what I do is pop that in. The other thing I did is also I went up to a magician's blood orb. This requires 25,000 life points and a block of gold or a block of emerald, I believe. So if we pop our altar divine down there, what we can do now is we can pop that on. It will automatically drop it in, and then it should automatically pull it out once it's finished. And you can see, if I get this here, that this is going down and then back up again, down and up, down and up. So you can see that the barrel is now basically providing itself into here and is essentially providing it endlessly. So you see it popped out there and it jumped out. So that was... oop, I don't want to do that. So this thing can be used to basically be a source of transformation. Now, because that was a higher level imbuement, it was actually draining faster than my thing could keep up with. But level 1 and level 2 imbuments now, so level 1 tier and level 2 tier imbuments, I can now keep up with using just that barrel of essence. So what I now need to do is I need to figure out a way to fill that barrel perpetually. And to do that, I need to do a ritual. The ritual I need to do is called the Well of Suffering. So if I pop into here and I go over to rituals, if I have a look at... Let's have a look. Feathered Knife and Well of Suffering. So the Well of Suffering, which is this ritual here, will deal damage to any monster within the area, and will drain. And it costs 2 life points to deal that damage. And every time it deals that damage, it gives 10 life points back. So it's basically increasing the amount of life points I have by a multiple of 5 every time it ticks. It needs monsters around itself to do this. And as well as needing monsters around itself, it needs Blood Altar within its area of effect. So what I'm going to do is, down there where I have my monster spawner, I'm going to get rid of my grinder. And without the grinder, this thing fills up fast with a large number of monsters. I'm going to have the ritual there. I'm going to have a Blood Altar attached to the ritual. And then I'm going to have a pipe running up and into this barrel. I'm going to upgrade that Blood Altar with some sacrifice runes because that will give me more blood per tick, so it's actually the same 20% increase. So a group of sort of, say, 5 sacrifice runes and a couple of non-sacrifice runes, they will flood this thing with 40 life points per injury, and it injures all the mobs in the area. So if I've got 40 mobs, it will just flood this full of life points. And I'm pretty sure it can draw out as fast as it needs to. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it will be a passive way of generating pretty much a consistent supply of blood, which is what I want. So now that we've got that, we can Ooh, I need to pick it up because it didn't detect it because I wasn't here. I didn't pop into my book. You bonk. Thank you. So there it is. We'll grab our reward bag. We get a cow for that, but whatever. The next thing I need to do, though, I need to get up to a level 4 altar. And the reason I need to get up to a level 4 altar is, you may have seen, this requires these black runes. Here. Those are runes of the dusk. And to make runes of the dusk, we need dusk, which is a block of coal in a tier 4 altar. And this is only a tier 3 altar. Now, to make a tier 4 altar, we need bloodstone. Tier 4. We need these blocks here in the corner, bloodstone blocks. To get bloodstone blocks, we need weak blood shards. These things. And to get these things, we can either produce more of them using our orb, but we need one to start with. We can get them occasionally from the Ex Nihilo sieve, and we can get them from the centrifuge. In fact, that might be the easiest way with a 3% drop chance to get one, because I only need one to increase my Blood Altar up to level 4. So let's have a look. Have I actually got any in my system at the moment? I do, I have 2. So if I show you the recipes for these things, nope, not recipes, the uses for these things, you'll see that I can make empty sockets, I can make arcane pedestals, armor inhibitors, keys of binding, and this is the one I want to look at. A piece of stone and a weak blood shard gets me 32 large bloodstone bricks, and that is literally all I need, is 32 large bloodstone bricks. So if we pop one there, and then we get stone, there we go, we have 32 bloodstone bricks. That's a nice easy way of doing that. Another way of doing that would be to use a bound sword, which is another one of the rituals in here. And if you look at the ritual of binding, there's the ritual of binding. It just uses the 4 basic colours, so you don't have to worry too much. And basically what this does is it transforms different items into bound versions, and those bound versions, instead of using durability or electricity or one of the other things that tools use, it uses blood from your life work network, which I currently have 150,000 life points in. And it drains it very fast, but they tend to be very powerful items. They tend to be on the tier of kind of end tier tinkers and end tier RF tools and things like that. And what the bound sword, one of the things the bound sword allows you to do is the bound sword allows you to collect weak blood shards from creatures killed with it. Seeds, they're all 1/1/1 seeds, so I don't care. Obsidian, 1/1/1 seeds aren't even worth keeping. Go, be gone. Right, so we now have our bloodstone, which means we can start working up towards the next tier of altar, the tier 4 altar. So if we look up blood runes, we've got 10 blood runes to start with, and we'll need quite a few blood runes actually. If I show you in the book, if I show you the tier 4 altar, I believe it's 7 per layer, or is it still 5 per layer? it's 7 per layer, so I'll need 28 runes. So I've got 1 self-sacrifice rune and 10 normal runes. So if we let's look up rune. So we've got the basic blood rune, which requires 2 blank slates. We could also take more speed runes, which are again 2 blank slates but require a blood rune. Self-sacrifice runes, always useful, because they increase the amount of blood I get from sacrificing my own blood. Runes of dislocation, again, useful, because we can transfer blood in and out faster. Runes of superior capacity I can't make yet, because I require a master orb or higher, which I'm pretty sure I need a tier 4 altar to do. Yes, tier 4 altar. I can make some runes of augmented capacity now, which I think is what I'm going to do, because what they do is they basically give you the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They give 2,000 life points, so that's going to increase my altar from 10,000 to 24,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's going to increase it up to 38,000. And on top of that, we'll grab some additional runes of dislocation, maybe? No? Okay, let's grab some self-sacrifice runes then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. So what we can do now is with these and some glass, we have some of, I'm looking for this red glass. There we go. We'll get some of this red glass, and what we will do is we will build the next up altar. And to just give you a quick brief glance at it again, it's 1 down and 1 out, and then we have to build 7. So I'm going to use my mossy cobblestone to measure that out. It's 1 down, 1 out. And then we're going to start building. So we're going to go with our runes of... Oh, I built runes of sacrifice, not runes of augmented capacity. I'm an idiot. I built the wrong runes. Runes of augmented capacity are these ones. I can still go and build 4 of them, which will give me a slight increase. The sacrifice runes will be useful later. I can replace them later on. To replace runes, you just dig them out and put new runes in. It's literally that simple. It's not a difficult thing to replace runes. Orb. Come here. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I need buckets. 4. There we go. The runes of augmented capacity will increase the amount of blood I can store in my altar. The sacrifice runes are just sacrifice runes, unfortunately, but still. So we want to basically put it in where this is. So and then we'll go with augmented capacity 1, 2, 1, 2. Ah, that's not quite right. Make sure I get that back. I didn't get it back, it fell into the void. Lovely! Okay, I'm not having a good time this one, am I? I will fix it later. I will make the appropriate runes. As you can see, I can make the runes I require quite easily. It's not actually that much of a problem to make the runes. All these sacrifice runes are going to mean that I basically have a huge amount of blood points available if I kill things, but I'm not going to be really killing things for this altar. So, minor frustration, but it's fine. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, this is where I want the self-sacrifice runes. So at the moment I'm getting 320 blood per sacrifice, 340, 360, 380, 400, 420, 440, 460 blood per self-sacrifice. These can go away, like so. And the next thing I need to do is I need to, where's my book? I need to put in the pillars. So you can see the pillars start in the corners, go 4 up, and then have the bloodstone on top. So the corners are going to be here, and 4 up leads it to be 1 above those. So if I switch over, I need it to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, and then I can put in the bloodstone. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now if I have a look at my altar using my divination stone, it is a tier 4 altar with 16,000 life point capacity, and that life point capacity is slowly filling up at 300 a time, just over 300 a time. So those improved dislocation orbs, so the extra line of dislocation has increased me from about 120 to 300, because it's a self-increasing, so each one you put in is 20% of everything, including the 20% before it. So that's worth 20, that's worth 22, that's worth 24, that's worth 28, that's worth 30, that's worth 32. It increases significantly as you go through. The self-sacrifice and the sacrifice and the augmented capacity, I'll be replacing those runes with different runes. I'll use the sacrifice runes to increase the orb down there, to increase my next altar, which I'll use to build this up. But I did produce some of those, and that gives me a rune of superior capacity, which is actually really useful, and I can pop that in straight away. The superior capacity rune is percentage based. So rather than being a flat 2,000 increase, I was at 16,000, this will probably get me up to 17,500, I think. 17,000. That's 17,000 because it's 10% of the base 10,000. So you can see that at the moment, 3 of those is worth more than 3 of these would be, because those would be 1,000, 1,100, 1,300, or 1,210. 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, but you can see how, because of just like the dislocation runes, these runes are self-stacking. They increase the more you have and become more valuable. When you have a large altar and you can have a level of augmented capacity runes, you can get your altar up to insane amounts. So we next have to work on, well, first off, our master orb. So if we have a look at the master orb, here it is. It is a weak blood shard and 40,000 life points. Currently have 17,000 in there, so we're less than halfway there. The issue with this is it will drain faster than I can give it life points. So what I want is I want a golden apple, one of the enchanted variety ones, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it up so that basically this thing's going to drain ridiculously fast. I need to keep it and I need to give it that 40,000 life points. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that in there, I'm going to eat this, and you can see that there's no way that's keeping up with that. It's draining way too quickly. So with my huge level of regeneration that I get for the next 17 seconds, I'm just going to keep spamming this and keeping the blood nice and high. And then I'm going to be relying on whatever is left of my life. 5, 4, 3, 2, and there we go. So in one apple and in one set of regeneration I managed to get myself a master blood orb. Now there's no point me carrying my magician's blood orb anymore because it doesn't stack. They carry a certain amount into your network, and once you've got the next up one it doesn't stack. However, they can trade. So if I had a master, or if I had a blood orb, even a weak blood orb in the altar down there, it would be filtering life points into my life network, and that would give me life points to use with this blood orb. But there are a few other things I wanted to show you before the end of the episode, so that's our blood magic done for now. We will claim our reward and see what we got. 2 tin ore berry bushes, not great. There's a few other things that have been going on. So down here I have my new and improved mob spawner, which is gaining energy from a tesseract, filling up a barrel. It's actually filled a drum full of mob essence already, and it's just generating me a little host of items. I'll take the zombie brains with me because I'm going to show you that next. That's dark glass, so it stops light going through. I've created an automatic zombie jerky maker, which is just a chest with an extraction tube, a drying rack, and a retrieval tube with a filter in it, and it just makes me zombie brain jerky, which is great because that's what I eat because it gets me Thorncraft points. And also, I dismantled my altar up on here, my infusion altar, and flattened this out and gave myself little entrances up into here as you saw in a previous episode. And now I have rebuilt it. To say I've added a few stabilization crystals might be a minor understatement. Some people get a little bit confused by what it means to be symmetrical for this as well. So I'll just give you a little example over here. If this is my altar over there, this is symmetrical with this is symmetrical with this. Makes sense. As you go further out, this is symmetrical with this is symmetrical with this, and this is symmetrical with this. And again, further out, this to this, and this to this, and this to this. So you can see, and if you come out this way, this one over here, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, is symmetrical to 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. That one. So you can see that it's symmetrical across a rotating line. That's your lines of symmetry for your altar. And the way I've set it up over there is I've used a mixture of heads, crystals, and candles. And I've not put any of the stabilizers on top, because when you have a infusion going and it goes wrong, the things going wrong can actually break stuff that you've set down as stabilizers, and broken stabilizers count against stability, so it actually snowballs. It gets worse and worse and worse and worse. So what I've done is I've put all my stabilizers down here. I've left myself a little inroad because I can go through candles. I've got skeleton skulls versus skeleton skulls, monster heads versus monster heads. It doesn't actually matter that some of these aren't perfectly matching up with exactly the same thing on the other side, because as long as you've got a stabilizer in the same space, it doesn't actually matter which stabilizer it is. I've got them on the ceiling and the floor, so basically doubled up the amount I've got in this space. This space by itself, I believe, is just over 120 pairs of stabilizers, which gives me 12 points of stability. Bearing in mind the worst infusions start at 20 instability. And then this down here is another, I think it's 60 stabilized pairs. So that gives me another 6 points. So I'm up to about 18 points of stability. So I've almost got enough to do the worst case scenario infusions without any risk at all. So that is my nice pretty infusion altar. That's my brains in my brain creator. And I've stripped all the grass off because I was getting fed up of mobs spawning. I've set up a new monster spawner, as you've seen, and also I've added some more drawers along here and added some more things, moved some stuff about. These drawers are empty and I don't have to worry about stuff going into the thing filling these drawers up because I used my drawer key. If you use a drawer key, then it just basically stops that drawer being used or makes it be used for what you want it to be used for. It's very simple, very easy. So, thank you all for watching. I've been the Gaming Droid. That has been basic blood magic to start with. In the next episode, now that I've got a level 4 altar, I will be working on setting up my self-sacrifice altar and having that self-sacrifice altar feed into this altar and give me unlimited blood. So, thank you all for watching. I will see you all in the next episode. Bye!